For Timeica Bethel and her family, tears of joy marked the realization of a dream.
I always knew I was going to college, and I always knew that I was going Ivy League.
But Timeica's journey from public housing to Yale University has been full of obstacles.
If you have family, if you have community working with you, kids can make it.
And more kids will be making it, thanks to the educational support of the CHA, colleges, and many new education initiatives.
Education can open doors to all type of new adventures, to success.
For young CHA residents all over Chicago, the opportunities are there. It's a matter of taking them. Timeica Bethel did, and just look where she's headed.
Hi, I'm David Pompey, and welcome to A Better Place. The road to Yale doesn't often pass through Chicago's public housing developments, but this fall it did, right through LeClaire Courts on the city's southwest side. This is where one of Yale's newest students grew up. And for Timeica Bethel, strong support at every turn helped her find the way. Timeica Bethel was born on Chicago's west side.
Timeica wasn't like an adventurous child. She always had her own personality. She always wanted to go off on her own and do things, but she wanted attention.
You know how you have babies, you want them to try to start walking, but you want to hold on to things. Timeica didn't want to hold on to anything. She wants to just walk in the middle of the living room.
By the time Timeica was 5, hardship overcame her and her family. Timeica's mother, Tianda, was an addict and made the painful decision to give up legal right to her 4 young children.
It was a hard decision, but then it was the right decision because I was sick. I was a cocaine addict and an alcoholic, and I had talked with my mother. I didn't want my children separated. I wanted my children to grow up together. So I discussed it with my mother, and I asked my mother, would she raise my children until I could get well? And she put a stop on her life, and she did it. So she raised them for 11 years.
Timeica's grandmother, Mary, was in her 40s at the time. After raising a family of her own, never did she imagine becoming a parent to 4 young children at this stage of her life. But it was something she knew she had to do.
I was directing traffic for the Chicago Police Department. I had them going to school. The bus would come pick them up and go to school, and I would go to work. And after a while, it just got too much for me. Then I just resigned from my job, and then I legally adopted them.
I might just spend the night at Monet People's House out west.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Grandma!
With limited income, Mary raised her daughter's 4 children in public housing. Mary maintained firm control over her grandchildren.
I would have excuse after excuse to go to a friend's house, but she kept us in, which was, I look back on it now and reflect on it and see it as a very good thing because she kept us out of trouble.
After separating from their mother, Timeica and her 2 younger sisters naturally bonded. But their relationship grew even stronger attending the Sister to Sister program sponsored by LeClaire's social service provider, the Jane Addams Hull House Association.
Sister Sister is a program that we started in LeClaire Courts a number of years ago. What we realized was that siblings in a family oftentimes didn't necessarily communicate well and get along. They needed a way to talk, a way to relate to each other.
For Timeica, the Sister to Sister program had important, lifelong benefits.
I was about 7 when we started going there, and we talked about issues that affected girls our age in our community. And Sister to Sister was great because I networked with those other girls from my community, and I met them and I formed friendships with them. And it also helped me to open up more.
For Timeica and her sisters, the program solidified their relationship, with Timeica always playing the role of big sister.
I've gotten really close to my sisters over the past couple years with me looking at college just so far away and trying to figure out what I want to do. And with me traveling a lot, we interacted more and we got closer because they knew that us staying in LeClaire together wasn't permanent.
The Jane Addams Hull House has been providing social service programs in the LeClaire community since 1966.
Hull House has been really important to me, not just sister to sister. I also participated in some of their other programs over the summer, and I've gotten really close to the people at Hull House.
One of those people at Hull House is the CEO, Clarence Wood. When Timeica was chosen as a subject for one of the profiles in the Hull House annual report, they became friends. And now Clarence serves as her mentor.
She had lots of energy, that she also was a young lady who had learned how to manage the system in terms of going to school, riding the bus for an hour and a half to get both to and from school, living in the community where she lived, navigating through all of that. So I was tremendously impressed.
Mommy, I'm hungry.
Timeica and her sisters now share a close relationship with their mother, Tianda. She has been off drugs and alcohol for 5.5 years, something she did on her own. But she drew strength from her family's support. That support is symbolized by a letter Timeica wrote her last year.
She wrote me a letter, and I keep it on my television. Nobody removes it. I don't care how dusty it gets, just blow the dust off and leave it there. And she wrote me, and she said she always wanted me to come home. I cried because it showed me that my children loved me.
I talk to my mom every single day, 2 or 3 times a day. I go to her house twice a week. I see her at church every Sunday. She's around all the time. We all know about that absence, so it's not like she never left. But we try not to let that affect how we live now. We don't dwell on the past. We all try to push forward.
Behind every excellent student is an involved parent, or in Timeica's case, a grandparent. When you combine a grandmother's devotion, personal discipline, and dedicated teachers and mentors, the only place to go is up.
For Timeica, educational excellence began at home. Her grandmother's strong sense of discipline and dedication shaped her education.
My mother was a school teacher on the west side. She retired from that. So the education, all we have to have, we have to get the education.
Education was never an option for Mary Lewis's grandchildren.
My grandmother is loud and loving and happy all the time, but she's tough.
I don't want no late coming in from no trunk party.
And if you don't handle your responsibilities, if we didn't get straight A's or A's and a couple B's, she was there. She was at our school more than any other parent I have ever seen.
And Mary passed the educational torch to her 4 grandchildren. They're all bound for college because education always came first, even over summer vacation.
Over the summer, I was learning stuff, prepping